Welcome back to the Secret Underground Lair. Today we are sanding. Top came out just beautifully. Really pleased with this. That is just going to be a beautiful piece of wood. So I managed to get through up to 180 on both the top and bottom of this piece. Now we are moving on to the shelf. Going to use the belt sander to get it down to a nice even surface at 80 grit, and then we'll work our way up to 180 on that. And then finally we'll do the bottom shelf, same technique, belt sander, and then other sanding up to 180. We're gonna, I also want to make sure we get the legs and the sides sanded, or the rails sanded, so yeah, a lot of sanding today. Trick I like to use from time to time when I'm dealing with surfaces that are a little uneven. How do you know when you've reached the when everything is nice and even? The thing that I like to do is just lightly put on some pencil marks, and then when the pencil mark has disappeared, as in this case, I've got the two pieces joined with a glue joint here. I can feel with my finger that this piece is a little bit higher than that piece, but as I sand it, I can now just watch the pencil mark, and when that pencil mark, it'll disappear off this piece really quickly, but as soon as it disappears off there, I know I've got it even. That worked really well. By the way, you may notice the belt sander seems to be tracking a lot better than it was before. I'll show you a little trick that I did on that. I made a little repair to the belt sander, and it has made a world of difference. Okay, we'll go after this side now. Looks pretty crappy at the moment, but with a little sanding, this is going to turn out nice. So I'm going to stop with the belt sander on this piece now. I have made some pencil marks on here that will come off with 120 grit using the orbital sander. So we'll move back to that. This is doing its job very nicely. A little modification that was made here was making a huge difference. Let me just show you what I did there. So I did a little modification to this belt sander. You can see a lot of wear up in here and all along here. The sandpaper, the belt, was frequently just kind of riding up here, drifting over and just riding up on there. And of course it would jam and sometimes shred the belt. This has been going on for a long time, since I've owned this belt sander, in fact. What the manufacturer had done is right here on this edge, they had made a little lip that in theory was to stop the belt from venturing over that way. But in practice, what was happening is that as the belt was in use and probably got heated up and stretched a little bit, the belt would climb on top of that little ridge and then want to center itself and would just get dragged right over without fail. So hence all this wear from belts just getting sucked into that or lifted up onto that and wanting to ride to the center of that ridge. So I took a rasp and just got rid of that ridge. And now the belt is just tracking perfectly on this belt sander. So very simple change to make. I don't know why they put that there in the first place, but if it's happening to you, take a look at that. See if you can get rid of it. Back to sanding. So that's both sides done to 180 or 120. Now go back and do it all over with 180 grit. You notice there that I ran over the entire piece with a pencil just to draw some squiggles on there. That actually does three things for me. One, it tells me when I've sanded the entire piece, all the pencil marks are gone. Secondly, it kind of gives me a route to follow. So I kind of just do a little piece at a time. Doing the entire, to look at an entire piece like this and say, oh gee, that's a lot of stuff to sand. Just kind of following that little roadmap just gives me a nice, easy way to navigate the piece. And third, if the pencil marks are gone, then I know that I have sanded the entire piece down to a point where I have eliminated the marks from the 80 grit paper. So those are the kind of the reasons why I use that little pencil trick. The equivalent in painting a car, for example, would be doing a guide coat. So it's just a little guide to let me know that I have gone as far as I need to go and that I have covered the entire piece. I'm sure other woodworkers have different techniques, but for me, when I'm doing something like this, my mind tends to wander. And if I don't have that little guide on there, then I am prone to forget what I've done and what I haven't. Okay, on to 180 paper and finish this piece off. Last of the major pieces. This is what I'm going to call the floor of the console table. So we've got the top, the shelf, and we'll call this the floor. So start off again with the belt sander and work our way up to 180. This piece using the belt sander, getting down 80 grit and evening everything up. I do have this little extra clamp mark. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to try using the iron and cloth technique. Steam it up. Almost, not quite. We'll just go a little bit more. That was a pretty heavy mark. and pretty deep, so sorry for shaking the camera around so much. Let's try that again. It's pretty much gone. In fact, what you're actually seeing here is the compressed bit has now raised right up beyond the surface of the wood. So I'm going to give that a sand with just some 120 now. Let's see if that disappears. And with a little extra sanding, that's gone. Can't see anything there. There's just a little tiny remnant of it right there. That side's completely gone. Steaming works. Okay, ready to finish up this piece with some 80, we've done the 80 with the belt sander, so we'll now go over the piece with 120 and then 180. Finish up this guy. Hopefully in time for lunch. Looks like I'm gonna have to do some repair on my little sander here. It's probably getting all clogged up with dust. I'll try blowing it out a little bit, see if that helps, but if not, then I'll tear it apart, and in the meantime, use my little palm sander. So blowing out the sander seems to have done the trick. Away we go. Panels have been now sanded up to 180. Amazing what a difference sanding will make. I'll try and put up kind of a before picture of what it's over here? Over here. Before picture of what this panel was like. Also, our little blemish that we had here. I'll put up a before picture just so you can compare what it was and what it is. If you use your imagination, you might be able to see it, but other than that, that's pretty much gone. So next up will be sanding all our structural pieces. Not quite as much sanding there, but still that's a lot of stuff to sand. So I'll move these up onto the table and start tackling those. Okay, got our structural pieces taken apart. Now ready to sand them. One thing I did on every piece though is I labeled it so I know how to put it back together. So this represents A2, the leg A2 on lower cross member. Here is the B1 upper cross member, and so on. So that's how they're all labeled and when I want to reassemble. But for now, I'm going to sand. And I have all our long cross members over there, just waiting to have space on the table to get to them. So more and more sanding. I won't film this because it is kind of boring, but that's what I'm up to now. Finally, all the pieces are sanded. That took a little while, a full day actually, a full day of sanding. But that's good news. The other bit of good news, Wells Fargo wagon came and brought something special. Some undermount drawer slides. So I got 3 pairs of these. And we're going to now start working on the drawers. These drawer slides out of the box are not what I want exactly, so I'm going to modify them and going to be cutting off this flange that sticks up, so it'll be sitting flat on the floor of the drawer shelf to provide minimal intrusion into the drawer. These are intended to be mounted up against the side of a cabinet, but in our case, we have no cabinet. The drawers are floating, the top is floating, the sides are open, the back is open. So yeah, this is all a lot of floating pieces in this table. So we can't have any visible sign of slides. Just another characteristic of this interesting build. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next video where we start on the drawers.